right. We have a question from Chris up next. He says, if your neighbors down the road say to stop everything and pile up cash when you're expecting a child, what is the money guy's advice for upcoming financial mutant parents? I have some thoughts too, but I want to know what your thoughts are.
Well, okay, so stop everything and pile up cash. It depends on what having a child means for you. Does having a child for you mean that one of the spouses is now going to leave the workforce and stay home? Like maybe they're going to work through maternity or paternity or whatever. But post that, you're going to be, well, yeah, maybe you do need to have additional cash in order to be able to weather that storm if there's going to be a big lifestyle change. But if you've been doing all the stuff that you're supposed to be doing, if you've been following the financial order of operations, Brian, hold the thing up. And by the way, if you want your copy, you can go to moneyguy.com/resources. And you've been following this and you're saving diligently. You've got a fully funded emergency fund. And that emergency fund for expecting parents should probably be around 6 months of living expenses. And that's sitting there. And you're also putting money in your Roth IRAs and your HSAs and your 401ks and you're saving 25%. The beautiful thing about the financial order of operations is even when you have life changes like a child, like a baby, it should not cause cataclysmic changes to your finances. Now, yeah, you may have to come out of pocket to go buy the crib and the bouncer and the bottles and the this and the that. There are expenses that you will incur, but does that mean that you need to shut down everything and stockpile as much cash as possible? My opinion, having done this 3 times now, I don't think that that's absolutely necessary.
I was going to ask, and Reeve, maybe this will set it up for you. Because look, I'm the old timer. I got kids in college now. So, I remember kids not being, besides the capital expenditure on the furniture, and the setup of all the gizmos that they sell you. By the way, I'll go ahead and save you some money. Don't buy the wipe warmer. The wipe warmer.
It's not that it's not at all an expense, but
I don't know. As a single person that does that.
There's some crazy prices out there that you do not have to spend.
Probably use that extra savings into the diaper pail that will remove as much smell as possible from your house.
That's a good one.
And then the other thing, and now look, I'm not a doctor, and I'm just telling you what I did in my life, like the bottle warmers. Yeah, I think because they tell you don't put it in the microwave or whatever. I know that the attorneys make them say that, but do you know how many times I heated up stuff in the microwave, but then shook it.
This is not
officially sponsored.
He's a financial advisor, not a doctor.
But there's just the gizmos, gadgets that are so wasteful. Don't take advice on the bottle from me, by the way, because like I said, I have kids in college.
I actually really liked my bottle
They probably
warmer,
endorsed that back when I had kids.
We just put it in the hot water.
Yeah, I know that also works too.
You do the bottle in the hot water.
But what I have found, having kids now at this stage of college, but also had babies at one point, but when we just swept the dirt and laid them down in these pack and plays and cribs. But they're not expensive when they're little. It's more of when they get a little bit older and and they
this camp.
And
they go to dance camp. They go to dance camps. They go to cheer competitions. They're part of the football booster.
Yeah,
that's when kids actually get expensive, from my experience. So the saving for a baby, besides the cribs and stuff, is what's your thoughts?
Here's my thing. No, I agree actually with everything that you're saying. Don't get bamboozled into like spending so much on all of this baby stuff. Obviously there's some stuff that's nice to have and maybe you want to splurge, but like you don't have to. But here's something that I've mentioned in passing before, and then I've seen people kind of like comment or like want more dialogue on, is the health insurance part. And this can vary for everybody. That's the thing, and probably why we've glossed over it. And this is just me speaking, fellow financial mutant, fellow messy middler who's done this recently. Like I would say this is why I love financial order of operations, because that step 1 is cover your highest deductible. So yeah, depending on your health insurance, make sure you know what that is. Make sure you have it saved up, because if you're going to go deliver a baby in a hospital, there's going to be expenses there. And also something that like I knew academically, but then you're there and you're like, oh yeah, like, oh, the baby has a health insurance deductible potentially, things like that. Like, so think about that. Do you have that covered? So no, I wouldn't say just stop everything and just stockpile money for no reason, but I would say just like make sure you're following the FOO. So you can go download that at moneyguy.com/resources if you want to know which steps to follow. And just think through that part. And I think that doesn't even have to be a scary thing. It's just kind of like, make sure you check the box and you know what to expect and what your plan looks like. And I think that that's maybe something that's been like mentioned in passing that was worth a little bit extra. So there you go. Because that is true. That was probably like, that was more of a thing than buying the car seat, and buying the diapers. Like those things you can get pretty thrifty on, or like borrow, or it's really not crazy in my opinion. So that's my 2 cents.
The other thing is, begin with the end in mind. If your expenses are going to change, I mean, one of the things, and we keep hearing, and by the way, we hear you guys, when you comment, when you write us, we read these things.
Yeah.
We've heard, you're like, oh, it's not the diapers, it's not the this, it's the daycare, that's
right.
What, that's
and
what
I get it. That's the thing. That's going to vary from person to person too.
That's a legit
So
point.
what you may have to do, it's less about stockpiling cash, and it's more about reworking your budget.
Right.
Post-baby, post-maternity, post-paternity, what are our expenses going to look like? And you have to really like dive into that. That might be an expensive thing, and that might cause a change. But in my opinion, I don't think that means you have to shut everything down and just stockpile cash. That would not be what we would say.
I have one more tip that might save a few bucks. Is that when you're going through and you're shopping for the furniture and all the things, and you're like, designer pack and play or stroller or furniture that's white and pristine versus affordable. Remember, a good filter is knowing everything you buy will get pooped and thrown on and peed on.
Right.
And if you go through that filter, it will help give you perspective that maybe you want to buy the more affordable thing, that you won't just like cringe every time a new stain or a new thing shows up on it. I use that in my house because here's the other thing. By the time the second kid, two vents, when the second kid comes, the safety protocols will have changed, and they'll tell you need to buy new cribs,
the way
new
they can
strollers,
sleep will change,
and everything.
What you can put them in will change.
And you're like, what? Yeah, I mean, so just don't get so caught up in what you spend, because more than likely what you buy, you will pretty much have to throw away after your kids leave or give it away.
Man, do you want to hear?
Isn't that true? Tell me if I'm wrong.
Can I be honest? That's the thing. Like you'd be surprised at how
scam.
much you can like borrow, or that other parents will pass down to you, or that you can get on Facebook Marketplace. It's still really good. So that's why and no shame if you want to go buy the nice thing. Like if that's what you can do, go for it. But I just get
I want to
annoyed
know if
when
that
it's like,
scam
it's so
is still
expensive.
working. Because when I eat between my kids, safety protocols have changed. So all the stuff from my oldest child to when my second child was born,
There's
they
some
said
of
you
that.
no longer could use it. So I want to know, is that a moment in time that back in the early 2000s to that 2000, we had a cataclysmic shift in the way safety protocols were? Or is this a scam to where just like when your kid, when you're between your three kids, did they keep telling you, nope, it's all changed, you have to buy brand new stuff?
Well, some stuff changed. I mean, definitely, yes, safety protocols for sure changed.
I think we call this engineered obsolescence. Have you seen this scam?
You want to know what really cooks my goose? Can I tell you what I get from my boss?
How are they going to break this up?
It'll be fun. You know what we did? We we had our first daughter, we had a crib, and it was awesome. Our second daughter came 2 years later, same crib. It was awesome. And so it was like, we didn't know if we were going to be done with, and this was in another house. And so we kept the crib. We put it up in the storage unit, or not in the storage, in the attic. And then we moved houses. We moved all the baby furniture. We're trying to figure out we're going to have a third, not have a third. We finally have a third. Guess what we ended up doing?
Bought a new crib.
Bought a brand new crib.